Hi, I'm Kartik Parikh from Fastech Telecommunications, and we have been in the business of testing telecommunications networks and technologies. This is a very exciting period for us as we move into 5G and testing 5G. What we at Fastech see as the most exciting part as we move from generations over the years from 2G to 3G and 4G and then 5G is the higher expectations of quality of service from the subscribers, and therefore the need to test networks and quality of service of these networks by the operators, service providers, and so on. With this also, there is this major challenge of being able to sustain and look after people's fears of increased exposure, increased EMF due to these higher technologies and 5G, especially because we are radiating at 700 megahertz, typically, which is going to take higher coverage, and also higher frequencies such as 3.5 gigahertz or FR2 going to millimeter wave, where there is much more bandwidth to be covered. With all this big change, of course, from a testing perspective, it also means that we have to have the capability to test these higher frequencies or these higher bandwidths at lower frequencies as well, and to make sure that there is coverage, that the networks are optimized. Even before that, they are planned properly. And going forward, with terms of testing, whether the testing is at the front hall, at the back hall with CPRI, ECPRI or Ethernet, and then at the core, where it's coming to the core, it means that we have to make sure that we can handle the bandwidth of 100G, 400G, multiple 400G. This whole wide spectrum of testing all the way from radio to the EPC and connections to the data centers of the servers is what has to be tested, so that the end-to-end experience has to be validated. This is where Fastech has the widest possible product range and you can say the exposure to technology in the market of the mobile communications. Another area where we are very, you can say, focused nowadays is into this expectation of the telecom operator to know what is inside the pipe, not only for lawful interception. So, of course, for lawful interception, it is a regulation from the government that they have to be able to tap into the networks and see if there is any harmful content passing over to on their networks. This is one place where we play a big role in terms of network visibility. Going forward, we are also covering products or areas where the operators want to have the visibility of what applications are running in their pipes, whether OTT, each of the OTT channels, each of the OTT partners, what is their percentage, what is their popularity within their pipes, whether Netflix is picking up or whether Hotstar is picking up, how much of their bandwidth is going in gaming. They need to know this so that they can allocate that much more resources and make sure that those customers who are in gaming or who are in OTT are being taken care of. Once again, Fastech has this entire wide range of tools across this wide spectrum. In terms of challenges, we can say that obviously we have got such a wide spectrum. One of the areas where we feel there is some sort of challenges that expectations are obviously very high, and we have to make sure that we meet the expectations. I'll give you an example. With 5G private comes the expectation that every campus has to be planned, and the coverage in that 5G campus has to be done properly and validated properly. So we have to ensure that the planning tools which are covering this type of each campus has to be covering these types of terrains. Whether, for example, a minefield has to be given a 5G private network. What are the planning tools that work good in that space, in mining? And make sure, then we have to make sure that the coverage has to be tested. So this is something which is hitherto not really explored, and only now these kinds of challenges are coming over to the telecom operators. Fastech is at a very advantageous position over here because we have this exposure, we have this experience of being able to take care of planning and testing networks even in such terrains and such possible networks. Another area where we feel things are happening pretty fast is the expectation in the core network to handle much higher speeds. With technology, there is this requirement that even at 400 Gbps, people have to make sure that their networks are super fine. Until 100 Gbps networks, we were using NRZ, which was very forgiving as a technology. When we go to 400G, we come to a PAM4 technology, which is much lesser forgiving. And therefore, the layout of the fiber and the layout of the network has to be so good. Coming to fiber, we have tools to test the fiber quality and test and also monitor the fiber networks very thoroughly on a continuous basis, 24/7. These are some of the tools that we can provide to the telecom operators, to government agencies, as well as those companies which are working on providing services to these telecom operators. So this kind of becomes the broad spectrum of challenges and opportunities ahead of us going in the 5G space.